Good evening, everybody. Back on camera. Here we go. Massive shout out to those listening on the audio experience, those who are listening, actually watching on the YouTube replay. If you're watching on actonthis.tv, thank you for catching up on this on the replay. And for those who are here live, who I've just been talking to in the little holding area we have before we go live, welcome back. Yeah, Archie's here, my nephew's here. Again, I'll have to make sure that I behave tonight because I know his mum will be watching. So big shout out to Cara. I'm not going to corrupt him, don't worry. It's very good that he's here. Archie, hope you've had a good day at school, buddy. You're not even at school. It's the Easter holidays. It's not even going to be at school. So tonight is the book club, guys. And we're looking one more time. Well, actually, we've still got another two sessions on this, but we're looking once again at Brendan Burchard's book that looks like a Bible, but it's not. It's just a really, really awesome book called the Motivation Manifesto. And last week we looked at kind of the beginning, like the intro to this book. It's all about fear. And I always find fear fascinating because I don't think no matter how masterful you get over your emotions and just, how much you master your mindset, fear never goes away. It never, you're always going to feel it, but those who have mastered their emotions and make their emotions serve them can catch that fear and channel that energy into something positive. Alex, good evening, buddy. As opposed to let that fear rule them, let it paralyze them, that we looked at last week. Fear can paralyze people and stop them from really doing what they want to do with their life. So tonight we're going to expand on that. I'm actually going to look at something that I'm massive on in the Bulletproof Actor program that I run twice a year. It actually opens up again this June. If you're interested in coming on that this time, it's a 5-week intense positive psychology, science-backed positive psychology program tailored for actors, ultimately to build an unstoppable confidence that will lead to literally infinite success if you apply the principles within that. Go to bulletproofactor.com if you want to register on the early bird list. But something that I'm huge on within that course is action, okay, and specific action that you take towards your goals, okay, and for what you want to achieve in all areas of your life, because ultimately your action completely predicates your results. And if you take massive action, which is normally based on the belief that you can fulfill your potential, so you need to have a belief in your potential and a belief that your potential is limitless. That then predicates your action, so you take massive action, and by default, you're going to get great results by that point. And then if you get great results, that feeds back into your belief system. See, Rich is here, says, Bulletproof Actor is great, I've done it. Rich, you, smashed it as well out of the park, mate. Literally, Rich started implementing these strategies into his life almost straight away, and I was getting, daily updates off Rich going, just been for this audition, just smashed this, just got that. I think you got a pilot, didn't you, Rich, shortly after that? Not a pilot who flies aeroplanes, a pilot as in a pilot episode of a program. But yeah, it's the whole entire program is based around action, because if you don't take any action to get what you want, ultimately you're going to fail by default. Okay, so we're going to read. What I like about this book, about Brendan's book, is I don't need to read you guys absolutely shed loads of it. There's some really powerful just segments that I can read you now, and then we can discuss in a little bit more depth. I'm going to, as always, keep an eye on my phone for your comments, guys, but obviously I've got to read at the same time, so forgive me if I miss something. But I will stop, because like I say, we're going to break this down at a section, so I will stop so we can have a little chat. And just, let me know what you think. Let me know if you felt fear this week as well, and whether you let it rule you or whether you channeled it into something more positive, okay? I definitely felt it. I told you on Monday's Periscope, I nearly made an excuse, a financial investment in a ticket to an event I wanted to go to. I nearly made an excuse, not to go to that. It was purely based on fear. Will I get the return on my investment? Well, if I don't think, if I'm already questioning that before the event, I'm betting against myself. Steve said he channeled it into hope. So when he felt it this week, well, there you go. That's good. But I had to catch myself out on that and go, whoa, wait a minute, Ross. If you're questioning your ROI on your return on investment on this purchase that you're making, that I knew was an incredible conference, it's fear that's making me do that. So I booked that today. We're all good. Starts off, guys, with a quote, and if you wouldn't mind sharing the scope as well, if you've got a sec now, which you have because you're watching, just click on the 3 dots at the bottom of the screen. Share this broadcast on Twitter, on Facebook. Massively appreciate that. Thank you for doing that, Steve. I can see you've just done that. And Caroline says she's got fear about ex-boyfriends. Interesting, Caroline. You can share that with us at some point. Thank you, Anna, for sharing the scope. Thank you, Girly Whirly, for sharing the scope. And thank you, Jen, for sharing the scope. Do really appreciate that. This stuff applies to everyone, like we always say. It's not just for actors. But this starts, guys, this chapter actually starts with a quote, very apt from Shakespeare. It's actually from Julius Caesar. And Julius Caesar, in Shakespeare's play, he says, cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Ultimately, in modern day speak, it's a great quote. It just basically means that those who basically live with fear die multiple times throughout their life because fear kills them and stops them from doing what they want, whereas those who are valiant and those who are brave ultimately only ever die once at the end of their life because they fulfilled what they wanted to do, or at least attempted to do that, because they didn't let fear rule them. Fanny says she's died often. well, there's going to be no more dying from you, Fanny, after tonight. No more dying whatsoever. Oh, thank you, Casting Networks, for joining this Periscope as well. Massively appreciate you. Actors, if you're not on Casting Networks, what are you doing? Get yourself to castingnetworks.com. No, .co.uk. Castingnetworks.co.uk. Not the American site. You want to go on the UK one. Unless, Rich, you're in Miami and you do want to go on .com. Go and register. Fantastic casting resource for actors. Great blog. I blog for Casting Networks occasionally as well. So thank you, Casting Networks, for tweeting this for me. Appreciate you. So that's the quote to begin with. And then Brendan goes on, okay, guys. He says, look, as we overcome fear and defeat our internal demons, we must recalibrate our entire mindset towards advancement, okay? Ours must become a life of courageous action and perpetual progress, okay? And that perpetual progress, like I say, is completely predicated on the action you are taking in your career right now. So if you're an actor and you're getting nowhere in your career, what action are you taking? If you want to get an agent, if you've not had an agent for 10 years, what action have you actually taken today or this week to get an agent? All right? Have you taken any action at all? Have you done any research? Have you sent any emails? Have you made any phone calls? Have you networked with actors who are represented by the agent you want to be with and ask them to put a word in for you? Because that's a great way to get in the door through someone else who that agent already trusts. What have you actually been doing to get that perpetual progress? Have you taken any action? He says, the majority of the world's people are not advancing at the speed of which they're capable. They have not sought self-mastery, and so they lack the personal power to direct their energies. Wrong thinking and weak wills are preventing them from extending themselves fully toward their dreams. Okay, it's like watching a cheetah stroll lazily all its life, never powerfully stretching and leaping at the staggering speed within its potential. Oh God, that's me, says Caroline. Caroline, you've got to stop being the cheetah that just basically dawdles his way through life. You're very, very fast. You're capable of much more. To reclaim our power, we must seek an immediate shift in our belief about how influential we can be in shaping our own reality. Okay, you don't realize, this is what annoys me as well, people don't realize how influential you are in creating your reality. You literally, like I've said this all the time, you are where you're at because of every decision you ever made in your life. You have chosen where you are right now, okay? Life might have dealt you situations you couldn't control, but you chose how you dealt with them. You chose how you responded to them, and you chose to click on a link at 9 o'clock tonight to be here. So you literally, to this point, are where you're at because of every single decision, even down to clicking that link, all right? Or if you're listening on the audio experience, pressing play. You're listening to this right now because you chose to do it. We must understand that nothing in life, including our circumstances or potential, is fixed. This is very important, okay? Instead, we must believe that we can bend reality to our own preferences, crafting the lives we desire through disciplined learning and initiative. Initiative is something that not a lot of people show. But, you know, initiative is a huge aspect of success, guys, a massive ingredient. We mustn't wait. This is what annoys me as well. We mustn't wait for permission or perfect timing. Who has said at some point today or this week or this month, oh, it's not the right time. It's just not the right time for me to do that. Oh, it's just not the right time to, you know, write that correspondence. It's not the right time to go for my acting career right now. It's not the right time to move house. It's not the right time to start a new relationship. It's not the right time. It's just not the right time, okay? I promise you, there is never a right time, all right? There is never, ever, ever a right time. Thus, get your head around this, guys. By default, because there is never a right time, there'll always be something that could be more perfect in your life before you embark on something, right? So before you commit to anything, there could always be something more. You could always have a bit more money in the bank. You could always have a bit of a quieter life. You could always be not as hectic or whatever. But because there is never, ever a perfect time to do anything, and I promise you this, because I've tried to find perfect times in my life to do stuff, and I never have. I've just had to do them anyway. Because there's never a perfect time, that means that it's always the right time. Which I think is amazing when you actually get your head around that. Good evening, Patrick. It's never the right time. It's never the perfect time to do anything. So thus, it is always the right time. There's never a wrong time, to do anything. So Brendan says we must see struggle as positive and necessary for our growth and ability to innovate and serve. And we must know all that we need is accessible in the now. Okay, there is abundance in this world to be had, and everything we need to begin the great quest towards a free and fulfilling life is already within us. Should we live from these beliefs, then we will reach levels of motivation and happiness undreamed of by the timid masses. Most people just don't believe it. They don't see the opportunity because they don't believe it exists. Okay, and if you don't believe opportunity exists for you in the acting industry, just give up. Give up now, because there's an abundance of opportunity. I say this all the time. I said it on the last scope. The reason that I publish news articles every day, and the majority of days they will be on new commissions in the TV industry, is to prove to you that BS excuse that you and your mates come up with every time you meet each other to say why you haven't worked about the industry being so quiet is because I want to prove to you the industry isn't quiet. There's always amazing programs being created. There's a program that got announced today called Edith for BBC One. Stars John Cleese, some incredible people. Yes, it has the lead roles as the majority of, the actors that you see all the time, okay, that you see the majority of the time, and people will complain about that. They go, John Simme's in everything, Anne Reid's in everything. Oh, these people are in everything. Yes, they are, because they, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever way you look at it, for them it's fortunate, they're at the top of the game, okay, so they are going to be. However, in a program that is 6 to 8 episodes long, there's an abundance of roles for other people in there. There's always the policeman with 2 scenes. There's always the secretary with 6 lines. There's always the shop assistant with 3 lines. The whatever it is in each of those episodes. So quit bitching. Just pick your dummy up, okay? And deal with it. There's always roles out there for people if you want to see the opportunity. If you don't believe the opportunity is there, you're never going to see it. Dolly Bird, says Caroline, could be the Dolly Bird in everything, but there is, in every police drama, there's always the scally who's in 2 scenes where the main police people go round to his house in connection with someone he knows, and he has a great scene with the 2 leads, being questioned, and he might have 10 lines, but it's there, it's always there. But people are like, oh, Anne Reid's got another job. Oh, Saran Jones has got another job. Yeah, because Anne Reid and Saran Jones has worked harder than you. That's ultimately it. They wanted it more than you. They outworked you. They outwanted you. They did the work. They saw the opportunity. Quit bitching. Annoys me. If you're not where you want to be, do something about it. So our challenge is that we have been conditioned to believe the opposite of these things. So we've been conditioned to believe there isn't opportunity out there, all right? That's what life does to us, okay? We've been told that bold action or swift progress is somewhat dangerous or reckless. But a certain degree of insanity and recklessness is necessary to advance or innovate in anything, to make any new or remarkable or meaningful contribution. What great thing was ever accomplished without a little recklessness, Brendan says. So-called recklessness was required for the extraordinary to happen. Crossing the oceans. Imagine getting in a boat for the first time when no one knew what was at the other, at the horizon. When they thought the world was flat and you were going to fall off it if you rowed towards the horizon. Some reckless mentalist got in a boat and went, I'll do it. I'm prepared to fall off the edge of the earth. I'm going to go and do it. That's what they did. Okay, that would have been classed as reckless. So, yeah, Richard here says he's questioned his UK trip due to imminent expenses, but decided no excuses. Rich, what you've done is great. Rich lives in Miami, guys, right? He's a UK actor, lives in Miami, wants to work more in the UK, and is prepared to pay for flights to come over and audition, all right? Doesn't want production companies to pay for that. He's happy to put his hand in his pocket to get what he wants. And he's now arranged a trip in May, is it, Rich? I think it's the start of May. And he's asked his agent in the UK to sort out a group of meetings for him, or try and get some meetings for him, all in a week. And he's going to come over for that week and hammer meeting, okay? A lot of people will go, oh, no, imagine you doing that if you're in the UK and going over to Miami to do that. Go, you know what, I'm going to go over to Miami on a whim for a week, get a couple of meetings set up. I'm going to spend 700 quid on a flight, probably another 700 quid on hotels. Loads of people go, oh, I can't afford that, I can't do it. Rich might not be able to afford it. He said he questioned the imminent expense, but at some point you've got to invest in your career. So fair play, man. Everyone's saying fair play. So Patrick says, meetings, though, with who? Well, you've got to make those meetings, Pat, because no one's going to ring you up, mate, and go, hi, Patrick, yeah, I'd love a meeting with you. You've got to knock on doors, you've got to make connections, you've got to go to events, you've got to meet other actors, you've got to be put in touch with somebody, you've got to be creative in the way you get in touch with people, and you've got to make it happen for yourself, okay? No one else is going to do it for you. And everyone will say it's tough. Yeah, of course it's tough. There's 100,000 actors in the UK. The reason there's so many out of work is because there's a bigger supply of actors than there is demand for actors. Yet a lot of actors still complain, oh, plumbers don't have to work for free. No, because the plumbing industry isn't massively oversubscribed by, 80,000. There's not a spare 80,000 plumbers in the UK. So no, they don't have to work for free, because the basic economics of business, as in supply and demand, demand outstrips supply in that industry. In our industry, the industry we've all chosen to go into, no one forced you and put a gun to your head to come into this industry, guys. It's massively oversubscribed, so you've got to do something different in order to stand out, ultimately. And that might be being reckless. So fair play, Rich. I don't think it's reckless, mate. I think that's smart. I think you're being smart by doing that. So Brendan says, yeah, it's reckless to try something that's never been done, to move against convention, to begin before all conditions are good and preparations are perfect. But the bold know that to win, one must first begin. So many people don't even do this. They don't even begin. They also deeply understand that a degree of risk is inevitable and necessary should there be any real reward. Yes, any plunge into the unknown is reckless, but that's where the treasure lies. Sadly, even intelligent conversations about success today are shrouded in limiting advice. How many people have lost all grand ambitions for change and greatness by heeding the advice of realists and the standard bearers of the status quo who tell us to set safe goals? Safe goals always end up being small goals, utterly predictable and absurdly measured small plans for small people whose certainty and safety who need certainty and safety to such a degree they cannot wade into the wide territory of the unknown where real vision and progress lives. I hate realists, says Fanny. No great innovation or human leap forward came from a predictable path or an idea that was immediately attainable or realistic. It's rare that these types of goals ever spark the imagination of or fire the will of the human spirit. We live in a culture flooded with tasks and spreadsheets and work plans that inspire no heart, no drive, no courage. Should we want to change and get a life of our own, we must not, under any circumstances, allow ourselves to settle. Hi, Ross. Dawn's here. Dawn's here. Try to figure out who is here. Good evening, Dawn. You've joined us halfway through, but I think you're still going to get this anyway. A truly free person does not fear bringing forth a desire that is unbounded and even scares them a little bit. Something that will demand the best of themselves, that might rattle them, but take them out of their own orbit and into the stratosphere of the remarkable. Took another plunge, says Steve. Left retail work, so got more time for acting. Fair play, man. Did it 12 years ago. Best thing I ever did. Our destiny hinges on a mindset for bold action. We gain power from again and again allowing ourselves to choose the kind of recklessness that allows us to be vulnerable, genuine, turn the page, vulnerable, genuine, and brave in pursuit of our dreams. When our hearts yearn for action and growth, we should care little about what society says is possible or prudent. Let us judge for ourselves what is worth the risk. And that's what you've got to ask yourself. So, Rich, you've got to go, you know what? Is this 1,500 quid investment or whatever it's costing you? Is it worth the risk of me? You've got to stop looking at what it's costing you monetarily. I do need a book stand, Caroline. I have this conversation with people about the Bulletproof Actor program I run. It's 300 quid, right? It's 297 quid when it comes out in... no, it's not. It's 279 quid. It's 280 quid when it comes out again in June. I only open it twice a year. And I have the conversation because I get a lot of emails going, Ross, I love your work, but I don't know if I can afford 279 quid. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee on it anyway. If you don't feel it's delivered on what I say it's going to deliver, literally, I'm so genuine, guys. I'll give you the money back. Literally, you send me one email, you get a full refund. I'm not here to make short-term dollars. I'm here literally to enhance people's lives and leave legacy. I don't give a shit about your cash if you don't feel you've got value. But I have this conversation with people all the time. I'm like, what you've got to do is not look at the monetary value, the monetary cost. Don't look at what this is costing you. So, Rich, don't look at the 1,500 quid or whatever it is it's costing you. Look at what it's going to cost you if you don't do it. You know, potentially you could get a meeting for that 1,500 quid that changes your career forever, Rich. People who do the Bulletproof Actor program, and I've got testimonials coming out of my ears to prove this, effectively risk losing, if they're only 20 years old and you took that program, you risk basically not fulfilling the rest, the next 70 years of your life. It could have such an impact on you that you live at a higher level for the rest of your life. 70 years, is that worth 279 quid to you? Let's not look at things about what it costs you. It's never about whether people can afford it, guys. This sort of stuff is never about whether you can afford it or not. It's about whether you believe you're going to get a return on your investment. And I think if you question that, it's not. You just maybe you're just not ready to do it. So, Rich, you're clearly ready to do it, mate. Gary's here. Gary's a Bulletproof Actor as well. Gary's a writer. He's not even an actor. Dabbles a little bit in acting, but he's more of a writer. But the program, the principles are universal within that. Ross, no disrespect, meeting with casting directors, producers, and directors. What do you mean, Pat? I must have missed another comment. Is that meetings? What do you mean, Pat? Explain a little bit more, mate. So I don't know what you're asking here, but maybe you're asking about what kind of meetings you can get. So what Rich is trying to do is get generals, what they call generals, like general meetings, where you might literally have a 15-minute chat with a casting director, or with an agent, or with a director, or with a producer, or a writer, or whoever you can get meetings with ultimately. Because I think your entire life, your results in life, and your success is again predicated on your relationships. If you've got good relationships across the entire spectrum of your life, you're going to have success in all areas. If you've got poor relationships and you've got no connections, then you're going to probably live a less fulfilled life. To get those meetings isn't easy because casting directors are very, very busy. So sometimes if you've got an agent who's got a relationship already with those casting directors, that can obviously help. Or you've got to, do something special to catch their attention. I think, Rich, you've got a big advantage here, mate. The fact that you can say, I am flying over from Miami, not for a holiday, purely to meet with you, will make people go, fair play. I know Jordan Hogg, when I interviewed Jordan Hogg, the Coronation Street director, BAFTA-winning director, when I told him about you and he answered your question I guess it was his idea to do this in that interview, he was like, yeah, I would see this guy. If he was like, I'm flying over from America purely to see you, and I'm making that monetary investment, that investment in time, that investment effectively in emotion, getting over that fear, they're going to see you. They're going to respect that because they're going to go, yeah, you know what, this guy's gone above and beyond. As opposed to the guy who does a carpet bomb of Dear Sir, Madam, and that's it. Like a copy and paste email that just has shown no initiative. It's not reckless in a good way. It's completely safe and just boring as hell. And I just go, no, delete. No research been done. They said nothing specific about that particular casting director, why they want to meet that specific casting director. Dear Sir, Madam, it attaches my CV and spotlight for your approval, or perusal. I would love to be considered for anything you're casting right now. Fucking boring. Sorry, Archie. Really boring. Really, really boring. Shows absolutely no understanding really. Brian's here. Good evening, Brian. I made a trip to London a couple of years ago to do the same. I met Dan Hubbard, says Rich. Awesome, man. Dan's a great guy. Go to actonthis.tv if you want to see an interview I did with Dan, like a live broadcast. Really, really good guy. The Hubbards cast some of the biggest TV and films in the world. Things like Lord of the Rings. Massive, massive stuff. Some people don't even do that. They just put a link to IMDb or Spotlight, says Caroline. Yeah, and these are the people, like I say, 100,000 actors in the UK. 99,000 of them are just don't want it enough and are doing it all wrong. So Pat said he was worried about protocol. Ultimately, an etiquette. There isn't protocol and there isn't etiquette in life, in any industry. There just isn't. There isn't a right way to email a casting director. Basically, rule number 1, don't be a dick. Rule number 2, have a reason for writing. And rule number 3, make your email interesting without making it 20 pages long and boring and regurgitating your CV. A lot of actors fall into that trap. They send them their CV, and then what they do in their cover letter is actually regurgitate their CV. So it's like, recently I have been doing this, 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 and this, and then I starred in this, and then I went on to do this play. I've got your CV, I can see at a glance what you've been doing. Tell me something extra above and beyond that's going to make me interested in you and make me want to see you. Some people might get very lucky, and that might be their look. They might just have a very quirky look, or they might be incredibly good looking, and their headshot will get them in the room because they look so good. Other people need to do something a little bit more special, and ultimately, tell someone why they should see you. It's like filling in your Tinder profile, guys. You've got to put something on your Tinder profile that's going to make a girl or a boy want to swipe right. People get inventive on their dating profiles, yet don't get inventive in their career. Nonsense. Let's carry on. I've only got a little bit of the book left to read, guys. So, where do we get up to? Yeah, victims and quitters take a different view, all right? This is about victims and quitters, okay? They often think their reality is fixed, okay, determined by others outside themselves. For them, reality is all there is. They tell themselves tomorrow is fated to be exactly like today, and the days that came before it. There's nothing I can do. This is my reality. This is just the way it is and always will be. Today is merely something to plod through. You'll know loads of people like that, and maybe you've been that. What matters to them is surviving life, not shaping it. Okay, consumed by the belief that nothing changes, these people have no cause to act or advance. Nor do they have big visions for themselves. What would be the point, they think? Well, if I can't change anything, I'll just settle for what random circumstances gives to me. Those with this mindset seem to have missed the large sign we should have all crossed on our road to maturity. Archie, at 12, you might not have come across this yet, and it might be a bit big to force on you, but ultimately he says this: you are responsible for your reality, okay? Decide what you want of the world and go make it happen. No clarity and no change equals no goals and no growth. So as you get older, you should get clearer on what you want, and you should be able to change your mindset, your attitude, your actions in alignment with that thing that you've decided you want, okay? Ultimately, those sad souls who believe that reality cannot be shaped do very little in life and will unfortunately be judged as weak, irresponsible, or forgettable. I put that quote out on Twitter quite a bit. Remember the actor who gave up? No, neither does anyone else. And that's going to be you guys or me or anyone else who gives up. Remember that anything that gives up. Just remember that guy who gave up? No, I don't remember him at all. Exactly, because he gave up. If nature and humankind's ascent has proven anything, it's that real change is possible and inevitable. And should we direct it to improve our life and our species, it's our salvation. Ultimately, your actions can save you guys from whatever reality, you are living right now. Last little bit. This is really poignant, all right, what he says here. He says, many people never jump into the ocean of their dreams because they feel they must have every possible answer before they leap. I say in Bulletproof Actor, guys, you never have to see the whole staircase to your goal. Imagine you have a goal in mind and you're stood on the first step, and that's just the first actionable step, the first thing you need to do in order, to go for your goal. And then that step you're on lights up just enough for you to see the next step. But you can't see beyond that. And to be honest, beyond that is none of your business. It's only going to distract you or make you procrastinate. You only need to see the next step. And when you step on that one, that's going to light up just enough to make the next step visible. And so on and so on and so on. And there might be 10 steps, there might be 20 steps, there might be 200 steps. You don't need to see all of those steps, all right? You only need to see the next one, okay? But most people won't take the first one unless they can see all 200. And that's what this is, most people never jump into the ocean of their dreams because they feel they must have every possible answer before they leap. They ask, what is the direction of the wind? How many seconds until the water? How many breaths to take before the plunge? What's the precise, proper angle for entry? Is anyone else jumping? How many have jumped before? How many strokes to the shore? These are reasonable questions, but some will never take the leap no matter what the answers, even with overwhelming evidence that the leap is safe, regardless of how many swimmers have taken the exhilarating plunge. The timid will find something wrong in their search, a sure sign that this leap is doomed. These are those who will find a reason they cannot achieve their dreams no matter how many people around them have achieved theirs. This really is a great way to look at it, says Steve. I'm sorry I'm missing a couple of other comments, guys, here. A pathetic majority also never cross the line. This is so important, so important. A pathetic majority also never cross the line between gathering information and taking action. This is so important, all right? Please take this away from this tonight. Theirs is a life of endless contemplation, of waiting for total knowledge and perfect conditions, neither of which ever happen. Thus, they are forever destined to be observers and not masters. Without making the actual attempt, without trial and strife, there can be no true knowledge, no progress, no high achievement, and no legend. And I want to leave it there, but ultimately that last point is so critical. A lot of people won't ever take that plunge, and what they do is they actually pretend to themselves they're working towards taking the plunge by collecting all the information they possibly can. And that might even be, you know what, sometimes, I actually would like it occasionally, and it's a bit weird, a bit backwards, but it'd always be nice for some people not to show up on these Periscopes every single time, and me to get an email from someone going, sorry Ross, can't be on your scope tonight, because actually I'm out taking action on this. That for me is ultimately my goal of doing these. It's almost like, I don't want to grow like 600,000 followers for the sake of growing 600,000 followers. I always say leaders create leaders, all right? And I want to create other leaders. And it's almost like, I guess the end game is almost where you go, actually, you know what? I don't need to come on these Periscopes anymore because I'm doing this for myself. And I don't have to collect any more information or collect any more of this, that, and the other because I'm actually taking action on what I've already learned. And I'll come back to these scopes in 3 months' time when I need to top up on that thing. Going to acting workshops is a must, plus your network. Yeah, plus your network. Yeah, absolutely, Patrick, definitely. Acting classes and ultimately, I'm telling you, your whole life is predicated on relationships. The higher the quality of your relationships in all areas of your life, in and out of your acting career, the better your life will be overall. I promise you. And again, I say in the Bulletproof Actor program, that's why I haven't replied to your email, says Gary. There you go, man. Honestly, sometimes I can't reply to people's emails for 2 and 3 weeks. It's not because I don't want to. It's because if I reply to everything there and then, I would never get anything done in my own life. And I almost want people to go, I can't be on that scope tonight because I'm out smashing it and I'm in this theatre show or I'm out at the screening of my new film or, I'm at this premiere or whatever. That would be amazing because it proves this is working. As opposed to, I've been on every scope for 10 years. Well, massively appreciate your loyalty. But I don't think if that's the case, you're taking action on what you're learning. A lot of people want to collect courses. They want to collect everything before they actually feel, right, I'll be ready to enter the acting industry when I've got this. I'll be ready to write to that casting director when I've got my new show reel. I'll be ready to write to that casting director when I've got my new headshots. You only had the headshots and show reel done 3 months ago. What are you waiting for? Why didn't you send it then when it was all new then? And a lot of people just, they kid themselves that they're taking action by collecting shiny objects and things that they think are going to help them, and they never get round to being practitioners. That's the word. You've got to be a practitioner. Ross, thank you for always picking us up and saying the right things, says Brian. It's a pleasure, Brian. Brian, so Brian messaged me on Instagram today saying that he had a dose of fear this week. But yeah, you've got to choose to fight back, choose to see the good in everything, guys. You will get what you look for. And if you want to look for all the problems, that's all you're going to see, all right? If you want to look for the good in everything, you're going to see that. You've got to choose to make that choice. Ross, Kev McDonough, Birmingham director of Rotunda Films, try to get a Birmingham Film Festival set up. Well, that's great. He's taking action. That's action right there. As opposed to going, it'd be nice to set up a film festival, wouldn't it? But that's not for me. I couldn't do that. Whoever that guy is, I don't know him, but he's doing it. So that's awesome, man. You are my angel. Cheers, Brian. pleasure, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being anybody's angel. I've never been called an angel before, I don't think. My mum probably called me an angel. But yeah, guys, honestly, we've just got to, like, do you know what? Like, what's so, like, and it blows my mind all the time again, is like, there's so many actors out there that, 20 years ago would never make it, would just never, ever, ever make it. And that's not because of whether they were good enough or not. It's because the opportunity wasn't as, wasn't really as accessible. And I know it seems sometimes that opportunity in big TV and big film, is minimal. You've got to look a certain way, be a certain way, have a certain, status or whatever. And that might still be the case. But the amazing thing we have today is this, what we are using now. And I say it all the time, the internet, all right? You no longer have to ask for permission to do anything you want. You have all the opportunity in the world to make your own stuff, to set up your own film festival like that guy's doing, Pat. It's incredible. So, all those people who would have failed 20 years ago don't have to fail today if they get up off their arse, off their backside, off their bum. Sorry, Archie, he's only 12. And take action. Take that action. That's all you've got to do. But first, you've got to believe in that potential of yours to go actually have the potential to create this film festival, or to create this web series, or this sketch, or this improvisation I want to do and put online, or this song I want to sing, or whatever. Then you take the action that's that's fueled by your belief in your potential. And if you take massive action every single time, you're going to get great results. You're going to get great results. That feeds back into your belief, and you go, see, I told you I could do it. So you know what? My film festival this time had 10 entries, told you I could smash it. Next time, it's going to have 30. And then you'll do that, and then you go, you know what? Next time it's going to have 50. And before you know it, bang, you've got, some kind of like really well-known film festival that everyone wants to be in. So it's all predicated on your action. So the message for tonight in this entire book is that, look at yourself right now. Are you taking the action that's congruent with what's coming out your mouth? I want to do this. I'm talented. I can do that. Well, what you're doing, you're sitting at home all day collecting knowledge and never becoming a practitioner on that thing. Are you collecting courses? Are you collecting workshops? Or are you actually going, you know what, I'm going to do that workshop and I'm going to do that course, but straight away, as soon as I've taken that course, I'm going to start implementing all of the tactics that I have learned in that course. I'm going to become a practitioner, and I'm going to start seeing the results because it's based on my action, and I'm taking massive action. So yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. That's ultimately it. And, Fanny was asking about in the Facebook group before, if you're not part of the Facebook group, actors, come and join facebook.com/groups/act on this TV. Fanny was saying, what's your formula for success? And I was like, look, there is a formula for success. It's never changed. It's always been the same. Success, the principles of success have always been the same as they were 300 years ago as they are today. Ultimately, to be successful in something, the principles are universal. And that really is what I've spoken about tonight. It's belief in your potential. So the formula would be belief in your potential, okay, plus massive action, equals great results, plus massive belief or reinforced belief in your potential. It's like a cyclic formula. So then that reinforced belief feeds back into your potential, and then it goes on and on and on. And this is ultimately what the entire Bulletproof Actor program revolves around. And this is the reason the rich get richer. It's also the reason the poor get poorer, because they don't believe in their potential. They feel they're shit. They say, I've sworn again. Sorry, Archie. They take no action because they don't feel they can do it. Thus, their results by default are poor. They say, "See, I told you I couldn't do it." And then next time they have such a, even a further lack in their potential, further lack in their belief, that they take even less action next time, get even worse results, and they go down and down and down and down and down. Whereas, the successful people just spiral upwards. And this is why a lot of people go, "Oh, he's so lucky, he just seems to always land on his feet." No, he doesn't. He's doing something, that formula, whether he knows it or not. He's believing in himself, taking the action to get the results, and thus every single time he's going up and up and up. So just implement that in your life, and that's a game changer. It certainly was for me, but you've got to believe you can do it first. So yeah, let's stop playing small. Get out of the small sandpit, and let's start playing with the big boys. Anyone got any questions before they trot off and implement everything that I've spoken about tonight? Don't collect this information. Information alone will do you no good. You've got to go away tonight and go, right, what action am I going to take tomorrow? Or Rich, you're in Miami. What action can you still take today before you go to bed tonight? What is the book? So the book is by a guy called Brendan Burchard, and it's called The Motivation Manifesto. Don't be put off by the fact it looks like a Bible and looks dead serious. It's not. It's very easy to read. Uses some quite descriptive language at times. But it's 9 declarations to claim your personal power. So what we looked at tonight was all about advancing with abandonment, advancing with without a care. Advancing by going, you know what, I'm going to do it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Sorry, Archie, again. I don't care what people think of me. So many people just don't do what they want to do because they're petrified of what other people think of them. And mostly it's what strangers think of them. The amount of people who won't post on the Facebook group, I imagine, in the Facebook group, in the Acts on This Facebook group, because they fear other people in that group, there's nearly 5,000 members there now, will think badly of them or will think they're stupid for asking that question that they presume everybody should know. Ask that question, because I guarantee you, if you're asking it, there's at least another 300 or 400 people in there who'd love to know the answer. Have a meeting with the director to shoot a film for festivals, says Brian. Amazing. Fanny says, yes, always the strangers. I love meeting strangers because ultimately it's a bit of a juxtaposition really, but I care so much about what people think of me in terms of I want everyone to think I'm all right and I want people to know I'm genuine and that I'm a good guy. But ultimately at the same time, I don't give a crap what they think. If they don't believe that, then that's absolutely fine because I know my intent is pure and I know, my everything I'm doing, I'm authentic. I'm being, I'm acting with authenticity. So I don't really care. I care, but then I care so much, but then equally don't care. So that's how you all should be. Obviously you want to be a force for good in your life, but if people don't get it. What I do, if someone, you get haters, don't you? I did an animation once. I did 72 episodes of this animation that I thought was great. Went on Netflix. People were talking about it, how great it was. What happens, right? When you get 20 great comments about something, you're like, oh, thanks so much, that's brilliant. You get one negative comment. What do you focus on? Yeah, you focus on the one negative comment you got, don't you? Somebody didn't like the fact that we dubbed this from French into English, and they preferred the French version. And they sent me a tweet, something like, something about how terrible it was. And then they put, no thanks to you, Ross A. Grant, and included me in the tweet. A proper hater, a proper little troll. And even though I had loads of positive comments, it was that little one that I was like, oh, okay, don't react. And I just, when I get a comment like that, I'm like, I just think, I feel quite sorry for the person who's done it, because I'm like, you know what, you've got so much pain in here, that the thought of me being happy and successful hurts you so much, you've got to try and bring me down. And I think as actors, we all have the duty as actors to build our own careers for the sake of building our own careers. And if you want to build your career into the biggest building in the industry, imagine it's you are building a structure. You've got to build that structure and make that structure the biggest structure there is without tearing someone else's building down. So if you want to build the biggest one, you've got to build the biggest one for the sake of building the biggest one. Periscope got stuck. Apologies if Periscope got stuck there, guys. Those on the replay won't have got stuck, don't worry, because I record it locally. But it looks like everybody's jumping back on. So I'll just re-say what I was talking about then, just for the benefit of those who are viewing live. Those on the audio experience, you just get to hear it again anyway. But what I was saying, guys, is as actors, we all have the responsibility to build our careers and build the biggest career we can have by building the biggest career we can have, not by tearing someone else's career down. I can see a few people are still joining. I think it was freezing for a couple of people. Apologies if that's the case, but on the replay, this will be absolutely fine. Let me know if even I have stalled on my own here. I was frozen on my own, but hopefully people will come back on. I know it looks like it is still being a bit of a pain. There's not a lot I can do about that, guys. Unfortunately, mid-broadcast. But let me know if you're here. We're going to start wrapping up now anyway. But yeah, ultimately, guys, it's all about taking action tonight. That's what the entire scope has been about. Think about the action that you are taking in your life and your career, and if you're not taking enough, start taking more of it. Fanny saying, "Oh God, I can't connect." For those who are watching live, I don't know if you're going to hear this. For those on the replay, like I say, massively appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching. Do subscribe on YouTube. Do subscribe on the Acts on This TV audio experience, so you'll get the audio delivered for free every single week. I hope you can join me live at some point. I can see people still trying to join. Bobby's here. So sorry I'm late. How's my favourite Manchester man? All good, Bobby. Although people are getting a little bit stuck on here tonight. I think it's been a good scope, but I think people are getting stuck towards the end. Awesome. I'll catch up with you guys in the Facebook group, all right? Because I don't think what I'm saying is getting through to you guys. But join me on Monday night. If you've not been joining live, Monday night's the next Periscope, 9 p.m. UK time. Just follow @Act on This TV on Periscope, and you'll get notification every time I go live. Or if you want to join on a desktop, you can do that now. You don't even need the app. Just go to periscope.tv/Act on This TV. All right? So yeah, I will hopefully see you on a live one very, very soon. Until then, have an amazing next few days. Enjoy your weekend. It's Easter as well this weekend. Enjoy Easter weekend, and I will catch up with you very, very soon, all right? Thanks ever so much. Bye for now.